Hey you! You're watching a clip from the DynamiteGizmo Podcast. This is not the full episode, but if you want to see the full episode, make sure to click the link in the description. And remember, like, comment, subscribe. Do it now! Here's the clip. So here's the fight prediction sheet. Oh yeah, okay. If you want this sheet, it's available. Link in the description. We're going to start with the early prelims. The first fight of the night, we've got fucking Rodolfo Bellato back. Okay? Now, if you're not familiar with Rodolfo Bellato, he's had one of the most interesting runs in the UFC. Let's take a look at his Tapology page, shall we? Bum, 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 ba-dum, bum. So he joined the UFC in 2023 after winning his Contender Series fight. Also in 2023. Had a pretty good record. His only losses were to Vitor Petrino, which is fair enough. And one of those losses was his first Contender Series fight. Okay? But he got another shot at it. And he won. Got his contract. And then he won his first fight, his debut fight in the UFC. Now we scroll ahead to his second fight in the UFC. It was against Jimmy Crute. And unfortunately, it ended in a draw. So then he had another fight scheduled in May of 2025, and it was against Paul Craig. Now, I don't know if you remember this, but about 40 minutes before they were about to walk to the octagon, the fight was canceled, and it was a mystery. And all that was said was, oh, it's some sort of health condition. All right, but it was later revealed that Rodolfo Bellato had herpes, and they had to cancel that fight. Okay, interesting. I've never seen that before. But then it gets rescheduled for June 14th of 2025. Again, against Paul Craig. And the fight is stopped in the last second of round number 1 because Paul Craig did an illegal up kick. Fair enough. Okay, Paul Craig's fault. But the kicker is Rodolfo Bellato looked as though he faked a knockout. It looked as though he faked a knockout. And I talked about this back when it happened, but you can look up the video. It literally looks like he faked a knockout. So then now he's got a no contest. And then he fought in September of 2025 against Navajo Sterling. And you know we love Navajo around here. And he lost. So in his entire UFC career, which has only been 4 fights long so far, he's had a win, draw, no contest, and a loss. Okay? He's literally had everything you could possibly get back to fucking back. So this guy is a fucking wild card. What the hell could possibly happen? I don't know. Okay, the man he's going up against, this is the first fight of the night, by the way, is Luke Fernandez. All right, now Luke Fernandez has not been in the UFC yet. But if we look at his career so far, he is completely undefeated. He's had amateur titles. He's had the CFFC title and defended it twice, and then even had the grappling title in the CFFC. Okay, he won his Contender Series fight back in October, and this is his debut. He has a very high chance of winning, or he has a chance, I should say, not a high chance. But even though he is the favorite, and even though I don't really feel great about Rodolfo Bellato, there's something in my heart that's telling me this man could possibly take the dub. I think, if anything, this is going to motivate him to get his act together and figure out what he needs to do. And he's going to go out there and he's going to win. And if he doesn't, he's getting cut from the UFC. So that's why I'm picking Rodolfo Bellato. Next up, we have Lee versus Bolanos. This is the second fight of the night. Now, this was originally supposed to be a man by the nickname of Zombie Jr. who trains with the Korean Zombie, but I don't know, he dropped out for some reason, and they threw this other Korean fella in here. So let's take a look at their credentials, shall we? We'll try to blast through this quick. I won't, you know, you might think I'm going slow because I had to talk about Bellato so much, but I just had to mention that. So Young Lee. Let's see here. He's 30 years old. He's been in the UFC since 2023. Won his first 2 fights, and now he's on a 2-fight losing streak. His last fight was against Daniel Santos. So, okay. And then Gaston Bolanos. He was in Bellator for a while. Joined the UFC in 2023. Excuse me. He had a win, a loss, a win, and a loss. And this guy's name looks like it says coronavirus, but it says Corta Vios. So Kwai Lee, Marcus McGee, those were his losses. Okay, so really this could go either way. He's a knockout boy. Okay, 75% of his wins are by knockout. Lee, he's kind of straight across the board. He's got some knockouts. He's got some submissions. He's got some decisions. Myself, personally, I went with Lee. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Dream Killer took it. Next up, we got some more debut fighters. Tobias versus Nurgazhi, a Kazakhstani boy. So let's pull up their credentials here. Tobias versus Nurgazhi. So Tobias, let's see here. 14-1-0. His nickname is Bipolar, and he's only 22 years old. He looks much older. Not really specialized in anything. Pretty decent record. He's only had 1 loss, and it was in LFA. Okay, that says something. So yeah, won his Contender Series fight. He's coming into the UFC. We really can't say anything based off of that stuff. Then the other guy, stop it, would you? The other guy, 10-2-0, 28 years old, likes to knock out. He won his Contender Series, and he lost his first 2 fights in the UFC. So, if you're just basing it off those statistics alone, you'd want to go for Tobias, but again, you never know. But because of those stats and because I'm not familiar with these guys, I did go for Mr. Bipolar. Okay, next up, the 4th fight of the night. We've got Sumudaerji versus Aguilar. China versus Mexico. All right. Let's see what stats we got for these big boys. This is one of those Chinese fellows who only has one name. Okay. Sumudaerji is 18-7-0. The Tibetan Eagle. We've seen this fellow before. He's been around since 2018. Okay. Kind of inconsistent. Goes on a bit of a win streak. Goes on a loss streak. Now he's on a win streak. A 2-fight win streak. Raposo and Borjas. That's pretty good. And then Aguilar. We've seen this guy before. 12-3-0 or 1? 12-3-0. Okay. His debut was against Tatsuro Taira. Lucky for him. He lost. But that's expected. 3-fight win streak. And then lost to Estevam. And then had a win back in September. So, again, we could go either way with this. Which way did I go? I can't remember. I went with Aguilar. Okay, there we go. Now we're going to go to the prelims, okay? All right, Mr. Durden versus Mr. Tamandemberel. He calls himself the Art of Knockout, but if you actually look at his credentials, that's not really what he does. That's not his specialty. So I don't know where that nickname came from. But first, let's take a look at Mr. Cody Durden, custom-made Cody Durden. 17-9-1. He's 34. Again, even across the board. He's kind of on a crazy losing streak here, even though he did have that one win in here. You know, Ulenbekov, Bruno Silva, Joshua Van. I mean, those are some killers, so that kind of makes sense. But then, you know, he's not doing great, I got to admit. The odds are not in his favor on this. And then this feller, who has a very hard name to pronounce. I'm excited for Joe Rogan to say this name. But if you look, his nickname is The Art of Knockout. But if you look at his skills here, 67% of his wins are by submission. He's only had 2 wins by knockout, 6 by submission, and 1 by decision. Okay, and he's 1-1 in the UFC. He doesn't have a big fight record, but he's young, dumb, and full of cum. And so because of that, I went with The Art of Knockout. And next up, we have Tercios versus Montez. This guy looks a lot like Topuria, doesn't he? Kind of funny. Let's take a look at what we got going on here. Players! Yeah, we've seen Tercios before. Or at least I have. Wins the majority of his fights by decision. You know, his debut into the UFC was against Ayman Zahabi, so that sucks. He also had Raul Rosas Jr., so that sucks. And Sopaj, so they kind of fed him some killers here. He did have 1 win, but he's oh no, he's had 2 wins. Oh, he's had 2. Yeah, he's had 2 wins in the UFC. Sorry, 2 wins in 2 and 3 in the UFC. Now Montez, look at this boy. That's a ripped motherfucker. He just looks like a killer. This is his debut into the UFC. He did great on the Contender Series. And, yeah. I think he's going to do it. I really do. I think he's got a lot of potential. I think the Promise is a great name to have. Okay, next up we got Johnson versus Brundage. Yikes. Yikes, yikes, yikes. This one, some may say it's a given the way this will go. Others may say you never know. And you should be the one who says you never know. But let's just look here. Dante Lockjaw Johnson. Okay, we saw this guy on the Contender Series. He's 7-0, 27 years old. Loves to knock people out. 6 wins by knockout, 1 by submission. Has never won by decision, although he's only had 7 fights. I guess he had... Oh, yeah, Cedric Dumas. Right. Dude, he beat Dumas on his debut. How crazy is that? Undefeated. And round 1, round 2. Okay? So there's so many up-and-coming guys that come off the Contender Series that just love to have round 1 knockouts. And I got to tell you, I love it. And Dante Johnson's one of them. Even though he submitted Cedric Dumas in round 2, but still. Cody Brundage. Okay, Cody Brundage is 31. You know, he's kind of just all over the place. Losses, no contest, draw. He's on a 2-fight losing streak. You know, lots. I mean, but the guys, he lost to Dumas, he lost to Ferreira, he lost to Oleksiejczuk. I mean, that makes sense. Bo Nickel, okay. That was UFC 300, dude. I forgot. That was UFC 300 that he lost to Bo Nickel. So I don't know. It's hard to go for Brundage. He could take the win based off all that shit. I don't know. So because of that, we're going to have to go for Dante Johnson. All right. Next up, classic Cody Garbrandt versus Long. China versus America. Okay, it's freaking cold in here. Garbrandt. No love Garbrandt. All right. How old is Garbrandt? Garbrandt's 34, so he's still not that old yet. He seems like he would be older because he's been around for a bit, but he's only 34. Loves to knock people out. You've seen Garbrandt. I don't need to say much about him. Went on a nice run. Did get the title over Dominic Cruz, which is a crazy crazy thing, but then immediately lost it to TJ Dillashaw. We know the history here. We don't need to get over it, okay? He doesn't fight much. He gets a lot of cancellations, but he's currently on a 2-fight losing streak to Figgy and Barcelos. You know, it's like, Figgy, okay, maybe I can understand, but still. And then Barcelos, it's like, I guess. But then we've got Long Xiao, 27-10-0. He's been around for a bit. He's been in one championship, but he's mostly been in WLF Wars, whatever that is. Has had a championship there. But has only been in the UFC since 2024. 2 wins, 1 loss. Or sorry, 2 losses, 1 win. I think this is a great matchup for Cody. I think this can give him a chance to get back into the win column, possibly. But I could also see him just fumbling the bag here. But I'm hopeful that Cody will get it done. So I'm going to go for the Garbrandt. All right, now we're on the main card of the evening. We got RoboCop versus the Hulk. Gregory Rodriguez versus Bruno Ferreira. Okay? It's really hard to vote against Gregory Rodriguez. But dude, Bruno Ferreira, he's had some decent wins, my friend. So Gregory Rodriguez, 34, massive middleweight. Looks like a giant. You know, he's had some losses, he's had some wins. He lost. Oh no, that wasn't. Oh, that's what it was. He lost his Contender Series fight, but still found his way into the UFC after getting some wins in the LFA. And then had a loss to Armin. Oh, looks like they... Oh, wow. I didn't realize that. He already fought Bruno Ferreira. And he lost to him in round 1. Wow. How did I miss that? I totally forgot about that. It's hard to keep track. Okay, so this is a rematch. Wow. Wow. Okay. If you look at Bruno... Yeah. He's on a 3-fight winning streak. Bruno might take this, dude. Bruno might take this. Wow, and that was Bruno's debut into the UFC. After his Contender Series won, he won against Gregory Rodriguez. Wowzers. Wowzers, pull my trousers down. And his only losses are to Nursultan Ruzaboyev, and Abu Smagomedov. Okay, if you're going to lose, those are guys to lose to. He won against Petrosian. But he hasn't really, I guess Martin Vettori, decent matchup. But you know what, dude? He could potentially win once again. But I think I still went for RoboCop. And I'm going to stick to it. Okay, next up we have... Dober versus Johnson. Why am I forgetting? Drew Dober versus, what is it, Michael. Sorry. I get my names mixed up sometimes. Yeah, we've seen Drew Dober. He's been around the block. 37. Looks younger. Looks like a Giga Chad. He's been in the UFC since 2013. Look at all these fights he's had. Okay? You know, he was on a 3-fight losing streak, but then he won to Kyle. Won against Kyle Propolek. Michael Johnson, same thing. Been around the block. 39 years old. Decision win kind of guy. Lots of losses, lots of wins. More losses than wins, I think, right? Or no, just one less loss than win. 16 wins, 15 losses. So, again, this is kind of up in the air. I'm going with Drew Dober because I feel like it, and you can't stop me. Here we go. Rob Font versus Raul Rosas Jr. This is Raul's chance to get in the top 15 of the bantamweight division. Finally, he was supposed to have this fight last year, but had to cancel because of an injury or something. His goal is to become the UFC bantamweight champion before he's 25, and he wants to retire at 25 years old as well. Now, his nickname isn't actually Chihuihuis. It's El Niño Problemo, the problem child. But his thing is Chihuihuis, so I threw that in here. So let's go ahead and pull up the stats. Okay? Now, although Chihuihuis looks funny, he can fight. Okay? Look into the history of Chihuihuis. His whole family fights. All his brothers and sisters, his mother, his dad, they all fight. Well, maybe not his mother, but his dad for sure. They have a lengthy history of fighting. I think if I'm not mistaken, his debut amateur fight was, like 8 years old or something. He's crazy moff. But anyway, Rob Font is 38 years old. Been in the UFC since 2014. Nothing fancy, nothing crazy, nothing special about Rob Font. Coming off a loss. Whereas Raul Rosas Jr., he's had 6 fights in the UFC. He's only lost once, and it was to Christian Rodriguez. Okay? But he's a rising star in the UFC. People love Chihuihuis. Some say he's an arsehole if you meet him in public, but I don't know. I've never met the guy. But I'm a fan of the Chihuihuis, so I'm gonna pick him. Now we're at the co-main event of the evening, which is Caio Borralho versus Reinier de Ritter. This was another tough choice for me because I'm a fan of both of these guys. But let's take a look at their credentials, shall we? La-da-dee, la-da-die. Caio Borralho. So as we know, Caio Borralho is a fighting nerd, one of the 4 main fighting nerds, and the leader of the fighting nerds, I would say. He's 33, so still young, 17-2-0. He was undefeated in the UFC. He was on a 1, 2, 3, 4... Oh, my monitor shut off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He was on a 10-fight winning streak if you include the grappling match. If not, then it's a 9-fight win streak. Beat some good names. Jared Cannonier, Paul Craig, Abus Magomedov, Oleksiejczuk. And after he beat Oleksiejczuk actually joined the Fighting Nerds and has since been fighting with them. Now, back in September in France, Caio fought Nasruddin Imavov in France and lost because Nasruddin is French, and the French like to cheat, and they do whatever they can to make sure that the French fighters win. It doesn't always work. Look at Brian Battle, which, by the way, let's get him back into the UFC, please, for the love of God. But we need the fighting nerd back, please, okay? And then we look at Reinier de Ritter. Now, also, I should mention, Caio Borralho won in a grappling match against Brendan Allen back in February, okay? Now, Reinier de Ritter was a elite fighter, okay? 2-division champ in 1 championship. He lost the title, but then he came into the UFC, went on a 4-fight win streak. Meerschaert, Kevin Holland, Bo Nickel, Robert Whittaker. Big names right off the bat. Just win. And then he faced Brendan Allen in Canada back in October. And he had to back out in the 4th round. He couldn't go any further. He was exhausted. Now, according to him, he had some issues going into that fight, and he shouldn't have taken it. But regardless, he did, and he lost to Brendan Allen. And Caio has won against Brendan Allen, but it wasn't a grappling match, so I don't know. This literally could go any way. I wouldn't be surprised if RDR took it. But I have to go for Caio Borralho because he's a fighting nerd, and we need the fighting nerds back. Free spirit, baby, right across his neck. Now, the main event of the evening. We are not going to go over credentials here because we already did in the beginning of the episode. And so I am just going to tell you who it is that I picked. But before I do, remember, please subscribe. Like the video, subscribe, and make sure you hit that motherfucking bell so you get notified every week when there's videos that are released. And if you want this fight prediction sheet, the link is in the motherfucking bio or in the description. Get it, print it off, as many copies as you want, hand them out to you and your friends, make fight predictions throughout the night. It is fun, baby! Now let me tell you who it is that I picked. Did I go for Charles Oliveira? Sorry. Did I go for Max Holloway? Did I go for Charles Oliveira? I don't know. Let's see. I went Max Holloway. I did. Am I going to be upset if Charles wins? No. I'll be upset either way. I'll be happy either way. They're both beloved characters in the sport. How could you possibly choose? That's like choosing between two of your favorite children, my guy. But you have to pick. You have no choice.
Tap here to watch the full episode of the Dynamite Gizmo Podcast.